Thanks to our friends at The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Riiv to receive the top 10 stocks to buy right now. Tesla has been a market-crushing stock since becoming a public company, but the company's differentiation might not be what you think. It's not just about the cars, it's not the fact that it's just an electric vehicle company, it's not even all about Elon Musk. What Tesla has over legacy automakers like GM, Ford, and Toyota is simply a better business model. So if you are looking at Tesla stock or what can be the next market beating company, I think it's important to understand how Tesla built this differentiation into its model. I want to go over three things that have really been key for the company. Before we get there, I do want to ask you to leave any thoughts or comments that you have below. Give this video a like, and of course, subscribe to the Riiv Project for all of my coverage on disruptive companies and technologies around the world today. Now let's get to Tesla, and let's start with the numbers. This is important to see exactly how their differentiated business model plays out from a financial perspective, because this is where Tesla has a real advantage. You can see from this chart here that Tesla has better gross margins than its legacy competitors. But this is really where things get interesting, is the operating margins. The gross margin is really the profit that you're making simply from making the vehicle, but the operating margins include operating costs like research and development, marketing, sales, and general and administrative. Importantly, in the auto business, the operating margin number includes marketing costs. I will get to Tesla's differentiation from a marketing side in just a second, but I think it is important to show the numbers and how much more profitable Tesla is than its competitors right now. Now, the first key to this financial differentiation is the fact that Tesla doesn't have any third-party dealers. This is something Tesla fought for really early on in its existence, actually had legal battles across the country because states often mandated that automakers had to sell vehicles through dealerships. So it was actually written into law. Tesla fought that, didn't open in states where that law wasn't changed, and that's really paid off for them long term. If you think about the benefit, there's a few things. One is the dealership is going to need to generate some revenue and margin to stay in business. So that's revenue and margin that comes out of the automaker's pocket. Ford CEO Jim Farley actually quantified what that number could be. He said recently that Tesla's distribution costs might be about $2,000 less than Ford. So that's a big differentiator that Tesla has. Now, GM and Ford are trying to copy this. GM has offered to buy back some Buick dealerships if they don't want to invest in electric vehicles. Ford has also announced some pretty strict requirements for their dealerships long term that may make it a little less attractive for dealers to be in that business. So they're noticing the advantage that Tesla has, but it's really hard to get under the momentum and legacy that they have built in that business. So this is a sustainable advantage for Tesla for the foreseeable future. Linked to this is Tesla's ability to have a different service model. Building the service model where they will actually come to your house and actually service a vehicle in your driveway or in the street, that was novel to Tesla, and they were able to really test that because they control that dealer experience. If a company like GM or Ford were going to do that, they would have to do that through third-party dealerships, so they wouldn't actually control that experience. There's another small differentiation from the fact that Tesla owns the dealership experience and can really control the consumer experience from top to bottom. Another huge advantage is that Tesla doesn't have any marketing costs. The company has a great brand and obviously generates a lot of value from Elon Musk's Twitter account. So that means it doesn't have to spend on commercials like other companies do. This can be a huge advantage from an operating margin standpoint. That's one reason that Tesla has much better operating margins. It's also not giving up any operating margin that a dealer might be spending on advertising. So that's another thing to throw in there. That's why the apples to apples comparison, if you just look at the SG&A expenses or selling general and administrative expenses from Tesla, they're a similar percentage to some of the legacy automakers, but that doesn't account for the margin that is actually going to those dealers. So I think that's another sustainable advantage right now. We will see how long that lasts. If Tesla gets to the point where they have such production capacity that they do have to start pushing their product and selling with things like advertisements, that may be something that comes under pressure long term. But I do think that is a great advantage historically for Tesla and has really helped their margins. Another huge margin advantage, and the third thing that's worth highlighting, is the SaaS software business. Full self-driving is actually a SaaS product, or software as a service. There are two plans available on a monthly basis, one for $99 and one for $199 per month. Now, the product that gets the most attention is the upfront full self-driving, which can cost up to $15,000, but that is actually available then for the life of the vehicle. So Tesla is actually going to take that revenue over a long period of time as those services are given to customers. But this is a new revenue model for the auto industry, providing software as a service to customers that simply didn't exist historically. So this is something new that Tesla is bringing to the market. It may even be software like margins in that 70 to 80% range if Tesla can get enough distribution for these self-driving services. So that is another differentiation that they have. Again, legacy automakers are trying to copy some of that, but it's going to be really hard to do because they're fundamentally not built to be full self-driving vehicles. So another advantage for Tesla. I will also note that Tesla has benefited greatly from the regulatory credits that it's been able to sell to other automakers. That's something that's not going to be real sustainable long term. So I would expect that revenue to eventually go to zero, but that's basically 100% gross margin revenue. So that's been a really big boon for the company and on the order of hundreds of millions of dollars a year. So another great advantage for Tesla there. Now, the reason that I think the no third-party dealership model, no spending on marketing, and software as a service in the auto business are so important for Tesla's business model is that they're really hard for legacy automakers to compete with. We're seeing startups like Lucid and Rivian start to copy some of these. So they're going to be able to build that into their business model. But Tesla has the scale advantage over those companies, and they don't have some of the legacy costs and structures that some of the bigger automakers have. So that has been a huge advantage for Tesla. It is sustainable for at least the foreseeable future and is a big reason that Tesla has been so successful as an investment. If you can find companies that are disruptive to an industry where there's so much legacy infrastructure and cost built in, that can be a huge advantage if you can build scale. That was really the challenge for Tesla, but they've obviously gotten there, and that's why it's been such a huge winner. I think this is another case of business models really mattering. What you see on the surface is not necessarily the real differentiation for Tesla. It's these details in the business that have really driven value for shareholders. Thanks for watching. Like I said, leave your comments below if you have thoughts on Tesla and where they are going in the future. Subscribe to the Riiv Project, and I will see you here next time.